really exciting day today because Google is now celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the first video ever published on YouTube. I wanted to have a chat with the product manager of YouTube ads, Andrey. Andrey, nice to speak with you.
Good day, Amit. It's good to be speaking again.
So Andrey and I have known each other for many years. We meet probably about once a month for the last 6 years, collaborating on lots of exciting projects. But you just recently moved into the YouTube ads team. Must be very exciting.
It is absolutely, it's a delight to be joining this team at such an exciting time. And I, throughout my career in Google, I've always pursued projects that resonated strongly with the company's core mission. And I feel like I have a unique opportunity now to keep doing that. I think in everything that you and I have tried to work on together and did work on together quite successfully over the past few years, there was always an element of this, which always gave us energy and the drive to work through even the most difficult of challenges. And I feel like over the past couple of years, we've really been living through an unprecedented wave of innovation, driven clearly by generative AI and all its possible. And now you could not imagine a more exciting time to be working on a video platform. Now that we have the capability to explore and dive deeper into this wealth of content that is available and even more useful and more accessible to more people.
I really think that there's markers in technology history. Like I remember when, as far as search engines, I had Yahoo and Alta Vista and all the widgets and things that came out. And then suddenly like Google came out and it was clean and it was fast. It was so much faster. And, you could hit that, those who remember the, feeling lucky and it comes up with the best result. And it just changed things. It changed things in search engines. And then suddenly a few years later, like YouTube is this amazing tool for all the access to all the greatest videos. You think of some little clip of some TV show that you saw many years ago, and you're able to find it in seconds. To bring that and have the ability to search on that into YouTube was so exciting when those two things came together. And now, like you say, this is the next evolution. Now that we're in the AI evolution, injecting that in there must be just so exciting to be working.
It is super interesting. I just riffing off a little bit of what you said there. You made me think that it's not only content that has been produced in the past 20 years that is available on the platform. We've made content available that was produced decades ago. Probably by now, probably valid to say more than a century ago. That content is available on YouTube and therefore accessible for generations to come. But of course, making content available isn't the same thing as making it accessible. And to your point about the evolution, which is a term I'm going to definitely steal, it is somewhat of as always, somewhat of a hyped up term, somewhat of a hype type drive right now where there's a lot of vaporware in the air and many companies, I'm not going to point fingers, are probably guilty of pumping up that balloon further than it can possibly be pumped up. But I do know that we've seen over the past couple of years very specific and tremendously powerful applications of AI. And I do know that one of the areas, and specifically the area that I'm going to be working on and I'm working on now, and that is the area of powering the creation of content freely available for all through digital advertising, can benefit tremendously through the introduction of large language models into video understanding. Just recently at the YouTube Brandcast on May the 14th, we've announced the future launch of a super exciting new product for both YouTube advertisers, creators, and also YouTube viewers, which for the first time, I would, if I may be so bold as to say that maybe people will point out that this is somehow technically incorrect, but I'll still go with being on the record as to say that this is for the first time when we're able to match the intention and the main spirit of the ad being displayed with the actual sentiment, not just of the video overall, but of specific elements of that video. And I find that so transformative because thanks to that, we should potentially be able to match the quality and quantity of advertising displayed to the expectations and the needs of our users. On all front, by users, I mean everybody, viewers, advertisers, and creators themselves. And given that this is just the beginning, it's a road that can take us towards further empowering more creators, making digital advertising more accessible to more companies in more powerful ways, and ultimately making the viewing experience richer and more enjoyable for our viewers as well. So really interesting product that I get to work on. Really exciting months to come when we get to polish it before we prepare it for final release. But do catch up on the latest announcements from Brandcast to see exactly what we think it's going to look like.
Well, I think that there's an expectation now of personalization, and I definitely see it in the next generation. Like my 18-year-old children, when they're going on TikTok and they're scrolling and all that, they would pause specifically on certain things because they're trying to train the algorithm to get to know them personally because they want it to be personalized, right? Now, what we're talking about here is that you're watching a YouTube video and the ad is linked based on what the content of the video is, right? So that it would be of interest to the person who's watching it because they've selected to watch that video.
Indeed, right? It should be of interest to the person watching it. It should be matching the creator's intent in terms of capturing the audience and keeping the audience entertained, informed, engaged, and coming back to the channel. And it's matching the advertiser's intent in surfacing their message at the most relevant moment for the audience. I want to emphasize that what we're talking about here specifically, I mean, we're having a conversation back and forth about various things, but what we're talking about here specifically is not personalizing it to the viewer, right? This is actually
the content.
This is deep contextual understanding. Exactly. But it's not to say that these approaches cannot be used jointly for more powerful results.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for advertisers especially, they want to know that if they're paying for a YouTube ad, that it's going to hit the audience member who's interested in the same sort of alignment. So, right, for example, if you're, I don't know, watching clips from Fast and Furious, and then you've got some, aligned vehicles that suit to that because that's what the person is interested in and just at the right moment. So I think that giving that to people will... The goal is to make them enjoy the ad as well as the video content.
Absolutely. Exactly. Enjoy it. Find it. There's different definitions. We want to be, I guess, if you wanted to get really picky about what the goal should be. But overall, I think whatever we're talking about here, whether it's enjoyment or informing or educating or enabling, right? We're aiming to match the moment to the user, to the content in the best way possible. And it's really mind-blowing how far we've come in this past 20 years since the first video was uploaded, just in the hope that this kind of made-for-self home videos could be interesting to anybody beyond the really immediate family audience, to now having a multi-billion worldwide audience with so much potential.
Well, a lot of people now prefer to watch content produced by, at-home content creators than highly produced multi-million-dollar movies. So there's places for ads in either, depending on what suits.
There is. I would just if I can just quickly jump in, I want to emphasize as well another thing. What I'm super excited about, and what I'm realizing more and more now as I keep working on this product, is that the production values and the quality of content produced by some of the top YouTube creators is in no way inferior, and in many ways actually superior and more attuned to the needs of the audience than some of the sort of the legacy traditional studio produced content. And that just blows my mind continuously, exactly how well this new wave of new generation of creators are able to use the resources at their disposal to create stuff faster, less expensively, with even bigger impact than was imaginable before.
Which brings the focus to the content. And so can I ask you, how's the technology work? Like, how are you evaluating the tone of the content, content that is within it? Like, is it the language, the suitability to themes? Like, what is Google actually doing?
Well, without spilling the entirety of our secret sauce on all over our users right here, all of our listeners, I should rather say, think of it as you could literally try it yourself. Use generative AI of your choice, any of the multimodal models that enable video processing or even image processing, and ask it to, well, in baby steps, to first maybe describe what is happening in the image or the video, and then start asking it more probing questions about the tone, the emotional content, maybe some other elements that are of interest to you. And I think you'll start getting an understanding and feel for the direction which we are going with this as well.
So this is something that's available now, like the ability to speak to it and ask, what is this content about?
Yes, very much so. I would say this has been available for a while now, that with the release of many of the recent generation, and again, given that we would like this video to be as evergreen as possible, in this, well, I'm not even going to mention any specific model numbers, but yes, multiple Gen AI models from different companies have been able to understand and generate, right? So this works both ways. Text to video and text to image has been available for a while, and so has image to text and video to text.
So there's an element here of supporting the advertisers in getting their ads to the right content that aligns with what they're presenting. What about the opposite, like preventing it? Is there elements where you're reviewing the content to see what's not appropriate?
That's a great question, in the sense that it addresses what for me is one of the core strengths of YouTube. It's not something that I'm working on, but also I feel like I don't need to, because we have a tremendously talented and capable team of trust and safety specialists and brand safety specialists and brand suitability specialists specifically at YouTube that actually enable us to work with content that is already and also content that already has gone through a lot of levels of clearance, but also are able to lend us their hand in addressing specific issues with a very minute level of detail. So it's not something that I'm working on, but definitely at the YouTube level, this is something that is happening continuously.
I just think this element, like, and I bring it back to, I'm not saying that this is the official goal of Google or YouTube, but more my take on it, of loving the ad, right? That when we started doing websites, there was the banner ads and people would just like train themselves to ignore it. Then like with a lot of video ads, you're waiting for that skip button to come up. But I remember a time when on network television, my wife and I talk about how you'd look forward to a certain ad because it had a jingle and you liked it and it clicked with you and it's suited to something that you're interested in. So I think if Google's able to do that, to make someone love it, then you've won.
Well, I certainly wouldn't argue with that. I don't know to what extent Google and YouTube are capable of making people loving ads, but we can certainly incentivize and empower advertisers and marketing agencies to think about the advantages of creating content exactly the way that you described, that is loved and that evokes feelings of deep emotional connection and connection to specific values, right? That you want your users to associate with your product or your potential users. So, hopefully this is more power to the people, and it's going to spark a whole new wave of innovation in this space as well.
I think this is really exciting. And again, there was just the celebration, I think you were saying, around the Google offices. You've got the celebration of the 20 years. What was it, of the first video?
Well, the first video uploaded, we just had it on the 23rd of April this year, right? So it's crazy that how far we've come in 20 years.
And what was that video, Andrey? Do you remember?
I believe it was called Me at the Zoo or Day at the Zoo, and it was uploaded by one of YouTube's co-founders, Jawed Karim.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants, and the cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
All right, so I think after people watch this, firstly, if you have any interests and conversations on this, please feel free to put in the comments here. But make sure to check out Me at the Zoo and watch that as a celebration of 20 years of great YouTube video. Andrey, this is exciting work that you're doing, and I think there's like with all different elements that AI is infusing, there's something great. There's another leap up that's about to happen in YouTube ads, thanks to this technology that you're putting into it.
Yeah, I surely hope so. And thanks a lot for having this chat. I hope people find it useful and insightful, and will sort of inform their way they're thinking about making decisions for the rest of the year. But I'd like to particularly emphasize the new frontiers that are opening up to us, and the fact that we're implementing this specific opportunity inside YouTube ads is an indicator of the possibilities that are being opened. And while we need to remain very security and privacy conscious in our approaches to using Gen AI, the ultimate limit is our imagination. And I truly invite everybody to just think about what's impossible right now and how to turn it into something mundane that 20 years from now people will look at and just smile at the times when something like this wasn't possible.
A great note. Thank you, Andrey. A pleasure always to speak with you.
Absolutely, likewise. Thanks, Amit.